yeah, brother, it's boot healing time. What's up, guys? Welcome to Early Access Boot Hill. This is going to be my pre-release first impressions and showcase on the newest character coming out in about probably a week from when this video drops. I'm gonna be honest, this guy actually kind of blew me away. I did not expect to like him as much as I do. After the drip marketing, I was kind of feeling like, all right, this guy's kind of just Father Arlecchino, except that would make him Mother, I think. Anyways, I was excited for him a little bit, but after getting to see him in the story, getting to play him a little bit, this guy is awesome. I actually love Boot Hill, like, a lot. I think he's a super sick character. And he's really fun and adds to the whole break meta thing we're trying out. So, with all that being said, my name is Braxophone. I'm gonna walk you through Boot Hill and give you guys a showcase on the Creator Experience server, meaning everything is subject to change, but that's why you should keep an eye out for my Boot Hill guide, which will be live as soon as he goes live. Ideally, hopefully, fingers crossed. Dude, everything this guy does is so, like, corny, but, like, also kind of sick. Like, it's striking the perfect balance between, like, hilarious, but also really cool. So what is Boot Hill's game? Well, basically, this guy is another break-focused unit. So we had Harmony Trailblazer come out, and HMC's whole thing is super break, breaking enemies very fast and then dealing extra damage based off of your break effect. Now, there's a couple other characters that have also been break focused. Gallagher is break focused and Ruan Mei is break focused, giving break efficiency, which increases super break damage, and also the break delay, which allows you to hit more super breaks. So Boot Hill is a character that takes advantage of that by breaking enemies down and dealing extra damage to enemies that are broken. He also is a break effect scaling character. So real quick, before I show you what he does in combat, here's the build that we're going to be working with. We have Two-Piece Talia for some break effect. It's going to give us a total of 36% break effect because we have Ruan Mei, and that's going to be buffing his speed and making him go over that 145 threshold. And then we have break effect from Watchmaker and break effect from the Shooting Meteor. It's kind of weird because he doesn't really have a specific dedicated set, so you just give him as much break effect as possible. And between these two sets, he is gaining a massive 68% break effect. So that's going to be really helpful. The two-piece sets do matter. And as you can see, we are just mostly focusing on speed and break effect, like 17%, 23%, 34%. This one was crazy. We literally have defensive stats at 34% break effect. Another 22% break effect here, and then just our break effect rope without any like speed stats or anything on it. So Boot Hill is a hunt DPS. So you would think that means you would build him with crit stats, but I'll show you why not actually here in a second. So we're gonna go into MOC 11. We could clear MOC 12, and I'll show some MOC 12 footage probably in my HMC guide, but I don't like it for showcasing because there's a lot of inconsistencies, and it means I have to re-record anytime he gets stun locked. So we're just gonna go straight into 11. What his technique does is it makes it so that whenever he uses his skill, the very first time he uses his skill in battle, he's going to apply a physical weakness to the enemy. That's going to make it way easier for him to do break damage, and overall it's just a really positive thing for a character whose damage all relies on break. All right, so the first thing that you might notice is that neither of these enemies have physical weakness on them. If I use his skill, what it's going to do is kind of act like Blade's skill, where it enhances his basic attack and makes it so you can't use his skill again, and he gets to go again. But as you can see, we're basically choosing which enemy we get to apply a physical weakness to, and I'm gonna go ahead and do this to the dinosaur. We're gonna do this, applies physical weakness, and as you can see, we are gonna break this dinosaur a fair bit. He's got a lot of toughness on him, but we can do a decent amount of toughness break. Now, when I used my skill, it entered standoff. What that means is that this dinosaur can't attack anyone else on my team. He is taunted directly to Boot Hill. That also means that Boot Hill is taunted on the dinosaur. The dinosaur is going to be taking 30% more damage. Boot Hill is going to be taking 15% more damage from the dinosaur. There's a trace that makes it so that he will not be taking as much damage from outside sources, at least when he's in standoff. So we want to break this guy as fast as possible. So we're going to go ahead and use our Fan the Hammer here. We're going to try to get Harmony MC's ult up, which we can do right away. Thank you, Harmony MC. Go on, Mei basic attack, use her ultimate, and then we're gonna Gallagher use his ultimate to try to tear through some of that toughness. And unfortunately, this guy's gonna flip over and do his hot dino thing. Not like hot as in like attractive dino thing. It doesn't matter. Anyways, look. So what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna tear into her real quick, just because we have the physical weakness on the dinosaur, and Boot Hill's gonna take care of that. Boom, super break for the 99,000 damage. All right, so now we have our ultimate up. We're still in standoff, so we can't leave. This lasts for 2 turns, and we're going to use our ultimate. Now, what you'll notice is that his ultimate actually can apply a physical weakness. So I could use my ultimate over here and apply this physical weakness to her, but we don't need to right now. Right now, we're trying to break the dinosaur, so we're going to do this. Use our ultimate. It's so good. I love that ultimate so much, and we're going to break the dinosaur for a ridiculous amount of damage. 256,000 damage. insane. Now you'll notice that he actually gained a stack down here. This is called Pocket Trick Shot. Basically, whenever he wins a standoff by either breaking the enemy or defeating the enemy, and actually other characters on your team can break that standoff too by breaking them or killing them, he gains Pocket Trick Shot. What Pocket Trick Shot does is it actually increases the amount of break that he does with this enhanced basic attack, and he keeps Pocket Trick Shot for the entire fight. It also makes it so that if the enemy has their weakness broken and he uses his basic attack on them, the enhanced one, he deals extra break damage, which is one of the main reasons that you want to build break on this guy, because that break damage adds up a ton. You combine that with super break and his personal break damage, and it's a lot. As you can see, we did 250k, which was crazy. And the other reason you build on break is actually because of this trace called Ghost Load, which is going to increase his crit rate and crit damage based off of his break effect up to a maximum percentage of 30% crit rate and 150% crit damage. This means that he can have a crit build by just focusing on break effect and getting like a crit rate body maybe, and even then you don't even need a crit rate body. You could still go HP body if you wanted to, and just make him tankier so he doesn't die in standoff. But yeah, absolutely crazy damage. The other thing to know about Pocket Trick Shot, and Jesus Christ, HMC is so crazy, is that Pocket Trick Shot also gives him 10 energy when he would gain a stack, and sometimes he doesn't even have to like actually gain the stack. He just has to be in a position where he would gain the stack. All right, so she's gonna recover, no problem. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna keep on going at this dinosaur real quick, and boom, 197,000 damage. That is just, it's so crazy because this is basically just like your normal hyper carry comp, except it's break focused. Now he is a hunt character. He does have to do a fair bit of damage to be able to compete because he's single target. That doesn't mean he's bad. It just means that specifically for him, he has to be this strong. Otherwise, it's kind of a waste. So we're going to go into standoff with her. Not going to be able to break her. That's okay. Actually, we will be able to break her. We just have to use our ultimate. Do that. This is going to break her. We're going to get our last Pocket Trick Shot. 100k damage. And now we can enter the standoff. Let's do it with Svarog, because that would be really funny. We got two robots going at each other's throats. And because Svarog is only attacking him, yes, his life is a little bit in danger, but he's also gaining a lot of energy. And we'll have to heal with Gallagher, but that's going to be okay. The next Boot Hill attack we get is actually going to give him his ultimate, which is going to put a physical weakness on Svarog, which will help us a lot. Ooh, that's fucked up. All right, change of plans. We have to free Gallagher, so we're gonna do that. Gonna break the hand, no problem. Do this. We can do it with Gallagher as we can finally swipe at Svarog. Dude, I love this guy so much. He's so sick. He's so sick. Yeah, so the downside is now we have to get our ultimate back. And I would argue that's probably one of the major downsides of Boot Hill, is you have to kind of manage your ultimates in the right way. It was unlucky that Gallagher got yoinked, but that's okay. We are so back. Svarog just has this tiniest little sliver left. And we're going to go ahead and break it with Gallagher. 150k on the break. He gets the victory. And now we're going to go ahead and lock in against Svarog and watch us break damage. 332k, and then we're gonna apply the physical weakness to her because Svarog's already broken. Boom, 103k, and she's broken. And now we just need to get all that super break damage with HMC. It's gonna be disgusting. Yeah, another casual 100k. I'm a support, but just gonna try to recover, get knocked back down. Do this. Boot Hill is in standoff. And 325k on that one shot. And just like that, honestly, that was not the best showcase of Boot Hill. You can definitely do better, but I would say that was more as a result of them not being weak to physical damage, because believe me, when they're weak to physical damage, he fucks. I'll give you a quick example of what it's like when they're weak to physical damage. So these guys are all phys damage weak. We're gonna go into standoff. And he's gonna break them by like a ridiculous amount already off the bat. Okay, so check this out. He's been broken. He gained an extra stack of Pocket Trick Shot. Do this, enter standoff. Now we're gonna ult him just to get, you know, a little bit of extra damage. This is the beginning of the fight. 132k. Boom. 191k more. And he's already dead. And since this guy's physical weak as well, we can end up in the standoff with him as well. Break him, get the last Pocket Trick Shot. He's gonna explode. We have our ultimate up. Not that it matters a ton because these guys are both weak. But this enemy's annoying, right? So we're going to go ahead and hit her. Stand off with her. Let's go. Look how much toughness we're breaking with 3 full stacks of Pocket Trick Shot. Look at this. Boom. Insane 300k break damage right off the bat. So crazy. And we're going to get another attack with Boot Hill. Monkey's broken already. So we definitely end this cycle as well. We can enter the standoff with him as well. Hell yeah, brother. 380,000 damage. Now, our buddy Boot Hill here is completely maxed on traces. No Eidolons activated or anything. But as you can see, pretty solid damage. And he has to have it, right? Because he's a hunt character. Massively buffed by Harmony MC and by Ruanmei. And you know what the best part of all this is? Boot Hill is using an Abundance Light Cone. That's right. We're not getting any set effects from a light cone at all. We're using an Abundance Light Cone. It doesn't even matter the fact that he's not using something in the hunt class. He's using an Abundance Light Cone. That's it. We have his light cone. We could use his light cone. It would be fine. We could use any other hunt light cone. Why am I using an Abundance Light Cone? Because it's funny. The reason is because there's not really a lot of hunt light cones that give break effect or anything like that. Obviously, this one gives break effect. His signature does. Hunt light cones, though, the only thing you really value out of them is like crit and speed. And even then, you would rather have break effect because break effect scales so much better with him than crit. So the only thing that matters is the base stats of the cone because there's not really a better option for him other than his signature light cone. And he still does insane damage because break just doesn't care, right? So I was using an Abundance Light Cone. We give him a signature and that would be totally fine. But yeah, this guy is absolutely crazy. And one last thing I forgot to mention is that his ultimate does delay enemy actions. It's good for if you have an enemy attack coming up and you're like, all right, we gotta slow down, partner. But yeah, this guy is juiced. I love Boot Hill. He's so fun. So if you've made it here in the video, you might be wondering, what sort of teams can you play with Boot Hill? Surely there's a lot of teams you can play with him. All right, so here's the team that I was playing. I was using Gallagher, Trailblazer, Harmony Trailblazer, Ruanmei, and Tim. And the reason I was doing that is because Ruanmei gives the break efficiency, as mentioned before, which is going to help all of the super break damage on the team. Gallagher scales on break effect, Trailblazer on break effect. Everyone here is on break effect, meaning everyone gets value out of super break. And obviously Boot Hill gets value out of break effect as well, just because he gets crit in it and he gets all of the extra break damage. This is probably his best team under the right circumstances, under circumstances where you can break the enemy, and the sustainer can be replaced with any other sustainer that makes sense for you. If you are breaking enemies with imaginary damage like Harmony Trailblazer, then Aventurine's great for that. Obviously, you get tons of super break, and just from all the follow-ups that he'll be doing, even though the super break damage itself is super insane, you'll be breaking enemies really fast with it, and then, you know, lots of break damage. So, but alternatives to that are you can use characters that you would normally use with a hyper carry. The only difference is you're not looking for specific stats, you're just looking for action forward. So if you don't have Ruanmei and you pulled Robin, for example, you can actually use Robin with him. Ruanmei, I would say, is significantly better choice for the break efficiency that she gives and the break delay that lets you get more attacks in before they recover their toughness. But Robin is great because she gives you that action forward. And the attack like it's not bad. Like the attack and crit that you get is fine. The main difference is going to be just the more opportunities to actually break the enemy, which is going to massively help you out. The same applies to Bronya and Sparkle. You wouldn't actually play these two characters because of the buffs they give. You would play them because of the action forward that gives you more opportunities to break. The character that is mandatory to this team is Harmony Trailblazer because there's no other character that's giving you super break in the game. And you can play him without Harmony Trailblazer, but the damage you're going to be doing is going to be a lot less just because super break is so goddamn strong. So I would just basically never replace Harmony Trailblazer in this team. Other characters you can run, like Pela is always going to be an okay choice because she's always all defense shred on the enemy team. Like that's never going to be bad. And Silverwolf's going to be okay actually as well. If let's say you're against enemies that don't have imaginary weak and don't have physical weak or even quantum weak, right? Like just being able to apply a weakness to an enemy is going to be super helpful because Boot Hill can't do everything on his own. If they're already physical weak, it's great, but realistically, you might even have to end up saving up his ultimate sometimes to make sure that you get the physical weakness on the enemy if they're not breaking by other means. So Silverwolf is actually okay too, and because Boot Hill is primarily single target until the enemy's dead, Silverwolf is good for that as well. Other than that, it's just like your standard sustainers and supports, but mostly I would recommend getting a character that has action forward or Ruanmei, and I would recommend Ruanmei the most. I would say this is his best team, save the sustainer, which can be switched in and out. If you get more characters that can apply physical weakness or just other weaknesses in general, that'll be pretty good. But for now, this is kind of what you want to work with. So in a way, Boot Hill is incredibly free to play friendly because two of the units that you could use with him the best, like Gallagher and like Imaginary Trailblazer, are both free to play accessible. We have Imaginary Trailblazer is a free character you get, and Gallagher is a 4-star. You just need Ruanmei, which is not free to play accessible, but you know, if you saved up and if you make good pull decisions, you either have her or Robin. Good pull decisions meta wise, right? Because I don't want you guys to be like, oh no, I E6'd Acheron and didn't pull anyone else in the entire game. Am I cooked? No, you have E6 Acheron. You're fine. Pull whoever you want. But anyways, we're getting sidetracked. So the main downside to Boot Hill would be that his teams are pretty limited right now, but I would imagine that just like as the break roster grows, he just gets even better and better. So the last thing that I want to talk to you guys about is Eidolons. Now, Eidolons for him, I'm gonna be honest, after reading through them initially, I don't think they're like super game breaking for him to the point where you're like, oh, this is a must have. Even for Boot Hill fans, like obviously you can pull for Eidolons if you want, and they will make him a lot better, but he's not like a support character that's gonna massively change the game. Like if you got this on May, the ignore defense Eidolon, that's gonna benefit like most teams that you play, whereas this is just benefiting Boot Hill. So E1 is going to make it so he automatically starts with one pocket trick shot. That's basically going to make it so you toughness break a lot more all at once. And he gets to ignore defense when he deals damage, which is a pretty big damage increase for him. E2 is going to make it so whenever he gains a pocket trick shot, he actually gains a skill point back. Now, this is crazy if you're playing skill point hungry supports because he's going to win standoffs pretty frequently. Like you're going to get 3 stacks by the end of the fight. Like it's just going to happen. So getting all of those back, you can expect it every 2 to 3 turns. You get a skill point back, which is going to be super nice, and it's going to increase his break effect. This also counts when you exceed the limit of pocket trick shot. So if there's a lot of ads, he's going to keep gaining it. Eidolon 3 is ultimate basic attack level up, and Eidolon 4 is basically going to make it so that the enemy receives more damage in standoff and Boot Hill receives less damage in standoff. This honestly, in my opinion, aside from maybe E3 or E5, I'm not sure how mathematically these two work out. E4 is probably the least useful one because if you just run like a solid sustainer, it's not really an issue. I would have much preferred like effect res or something in standoff, but this is fine as well. E5 is going to be skill and talent level up. And E6 is going to make it so that whenever you trigger his talent's break damage, which the bonus damage from enemies already having been broken, it deals a lot more damage and also hits adjacent targets. So it basically turns this hunt unit into a destruction unit, which I think is really cool, especially if the enemy's physical weak. He's going to be doing a lot of damage. The damage dealt is smaller, and honestly, again, it's an E6, so I wouldn't swipe for it personally. Between his light cone and Eidolons, I definitely think getting his light cone is going to be one of the most helpful things for him specifically, just because there's not other break effect and speed granting and defense ignore granting light cones that work incredibly well for him. But you don't really need either of them. As you saw, we were just using like a random, I just went and I just clicked on a random light cone. Oh, it happened to be the same attack as well. So it's basically the same attack as using a signature light cone. So I guess you could expect like a tiny bit less damage, but attack doesn't really play into break effect anyway, so it wouldn't really make that big of a... Anyways, you guys get what I'm saying, right? It doesn't matter. You can play something that gives him crit. You can play him with this light cone. You can play him with meshing cogs. He's not going to get the energy from meshing cogs, but you can play with meshing cogs and he's still going to deal pretty good damage because it's based on break effect. So anyways, with all that being said, that's basically my full first impressions on Boot Hill. I think he's really, really strong for a hunt unit, and he's a physical unit. I think he's one of those characters where if you just think he's cool and you like him, you pull for him. I understand why it's going to be tough because Firefly and Jade are coming out next patch, and obviously a lot of people are hyped about Firefly. I'm hyped about Firefly. I'm going to try to pull for all my free-to-play. So he comes at a bad time, I think, for those of us who are invested in story characters. Right after Robin, right before Firefly. But if you like his character, he's good. I mean, there's no beating around the bush. He's a good character. Is he busted? I don't really think he's like super broken. I think he just does his job pretty well, but he's a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun with his character. So if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to like so YouTube knows the video doesn't suck, and look forward to my full Boot Hill guide, which I'll be releasing right after he comes out, so that way you guys can understand how to build him. So I'll catch you guys later. And if you guys want to watch me play when he goes live as well, that'll be over on my Twitch, twitch.tv/Braxophone, or you can follow my VTuber Twitch for other games as well. That's twitch.tv/AshAlric. I'll catch you guys later.